Welcome to the Mobile Monger Podcast, where we go behind the scenes in the cheese world to chat with people making, selling, or distributing your favorite specialty food products. I'm your host, Janae Muha, certified cheese professional, longtime cheesemonger, and producer advocate. From celebrating the success of one business to a business trying to open its doors. On this episode, I chat with Courtney Johnson and Taylor Coas of Street Cheese here in Seattle, as they've been raising money through an Indiegogo campaign to open their brick-and-mortar shop. We get into the ins and outs of the ways they've started their business over the last couple years and get a glimpse into the vision they have for this shop.
So my name is Taylor. I'm part of Street Cheese.
My name is Courtney, and I am also part of Street Cheese.
So I got my start in cheesemongering back in 2012. I was working for a local kind of specialty grocery store in Seattle here called Metropolitan Market. And I was also going to school at the same time. So this was just a job that I was going to have while I was in school. But I soon kind of fell in love with the industry and how excited the people that I worked with were about cheese and all the knowledge that they had. I had a really awesome mentor back then named Kim Martin, and she just kind of introduced me to the world of cheese, and I just kind of stuck with it. And I was working for that store for about 6 years, found some really great people and good friends, including Courtney. We used to slice a lot of lunch meat together and talk about our future cheese shop, and how we wouldn't be slicing lunch meat there. But so yeah, the dreams and all that stuff kind of started back at that store. And then I kind of took a little bit of a break. I went into the sales rep side of things in the food industry for a while. And then in 2018, Courtney approached me and asked if I wanted to come help open another cheese department inside of a local co-op called PCC. They're going to be opening one in Burien, which was a kind of a food desert at the time. And I was kind of in between jobs at the time, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll get back into cheese. And so Courtney and I got to work together again. We worked there for 4 years, and it was in 2020 when the pandemic hit, when we were just kind of like at a crossroads with our careers, what we wanted to do moving forward. And like we worked so well together throughout this whole entire time. We were really good partners in the cheese world, and we were always kind of on the same page. So we both kind of came to each other and we're like, we don't have any money, we don't have any, we don't know what we're doing. We know what we're doing, but we don't know what we're doing. And we know we can do it a lot better. So let's just go for it. And that's when we got our business license and started Street Cheese. So I still run a cheese department at PCC, and at full time. And then, but I do Street Cheese as well. And, hoping to make that my full-time job and my own business.
Amazing. So there's been a lot of work since 2020 that you guys have put into Street Cheese. Can you guys give me a little rundown of all the things that you have done over the last few years to build this business and take it off the ground?
Well, I mean, we started with building cheese platters. Even before we got a commissary kitchen, we were finding a space in a cooking classroom where they would let us build platters. So that was kind of where we started. And then we had some like cheese delivery forays where we were bringing cheese to people's houses, like Instacart, but not.
Oh, those early days of the pandemic when like you just pulled everything out to see what
Yeah,
could work.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's like you put something on your website and someone orders it and you're like, oh no, we have to do that now.
Yeah.
We don't even have that.
We're like, we're both at work right now. Who's gonna go?
And then we got connected with some businesses that wanted to do first business wanted to do like a wine tasting with cheese, and then the other one was looking for pop-ups, which like pop-ups were the thing at the time for especially like breweries and places that served alcohol because they couldn't remain open to the public unless they had food. And short of having a permit to serve food in their establishments, they were bringing in small businesses that didn't have their own location and allowing them to do little pop-ups. So we actually started doing the cheese plate pop-up where we would bring cheese that was like pre-cut and we'd build plates for people, letting them choose what cheeses and stuff they wanted on it. And then we picked up like 18 other locations where we were going regularly, and then some other places were like thrown in the middle, and we're doing pop-ups like 3 to 4 times a week. Burnout, because this is in addition to us both working also full-time jobs, and in case nobody knows this, having a business is also a full-time job. And then we sort of like at the same time people stopped doing pop-ups, and like this was like early 2023. People started going back to restaurants, which they hadn't really been doing during the pandemic. And then there's like a semblance of normalcy where people started getting takeout from restaurants and bringing it to the breweries. So the pop-ups died off sort of naturally when we were already feeling burned out. And then we were like, well, a great way to teach people about cheese is to teach people about cheese. So let's start doing some more classes. And then we've really leaned into the classes for the last year, and we still do like the occasional pop-up and the occasional market. And then our kitchen has a window that opens up to the outside, so we can actually do pop-ups from the front window of our commercial kitchen. We like to do that like at least once a month. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Um, how has the community been receiving all of these classes and whatnot?
It's been good. I think that I think us deciding to kind of drop off with the pop-ups happened at a really, really good time because we didn't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And we were doing some classes while we were doing pop-ups as well, and they were kind of like special events. And so then different businesses started approaching us to continue doing more classes, and people were very excited about them. They were ready to give us their money and come and attend these classes, and they're always learning something new. They're always going to get a new lineup, a new type of pairing, lots of good commentary and education from both our end and whoever's hosting us, which is usually some type of beverage place more often than not. And so it's been a really good turnout. I think it was like a really nice transition into like us controlling kind of where our time was going and being able to really like set up our like night and our evening and plan for what we were going to be expecting a little bit better. I think it paid off for both us and our customers.
Yeah, I think one of the things with doing the pop-ups is that you don't ever know really what to expect. So it was hard to even plan what cheeses we were going to have in a month because we didn't know if we would sell through all of them or if we would need way more than what we had. Whereas like now we're at a spot where I actually sat down the other day and planned out everything that I think we need for the month of April. So like you can actually project things if like we're going to sell X amount of tickets, whereas you're like, I don't know, we might sell 10 plates or we might sell 50.
Yeah, that was always like a huge challenge for us when we were getting ready for our pop-ups. Like we had to totally guesstimate, and sometimes we'd run out of stuff and that was a opportunity for us to sell out more cheese, but we didn't have it, or we would be left over with way too much. And we were like, what are we going to do with this now? We have to eat all this cheese.
Somebody has to eat all this cheese.
Yeah.
So y'all are currently in the middle of your Indiegogo campaign. And I will be the one to say it that it's had a little bit of a slow start. Even though there is a nice chunk already there, but there's a lot more. I want to talk about like what do you guys envision for this shop and what is this money going towards essentially? Like sell us on it. What do you guys want? What's the vision?
Oh God, there's such a vision. Well, we need the basics. Like we need the things that are going to keep our cheese alive. So number one is like a big walk-in refrigerator, and then all the coolers and everything, which is like an arm and a leg and it's on its
Yeah,
own.
people don't realize how much refrigeration really costs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And
thirty
that's not
thousand
even like,
dollars.
yeah. And that's not like the cosmetics or the pretty part of the exciting part of the shop. That's for us and the cheese. I think location's a really big thing for us. We're really trying to like find the perfect location to kind of like be able to continue to keep our current customers and our current regulars, and then also find like just grab lots of new people throughout the weeks. Um, what else, Courtney?
Yeah, I mean for for the like in addition to like refrigeration's the biggest thing, and then looking at the locations, the the commercial real estate market in the Seattle area is very similar to the housing market, which is ridiculously competitive and just like constantly going skyward. So even though we've been looking for like what they call a second generation spot that like somebody was already using as a restaurant or a corner store or whatever, those things tend to get rented sort of like quietly under the table before anybody even announces that they're closing or leaving the space. And so we haven't been able to find anything like that necessarily. We're on our fourth commercial real estate broker, who so far he's been great. But like working with him, like we found new construction places that need all the build out. Like it's just a concrete square with windows that needs, things like plumbing and HVAC and walls, and a floor that isn't just, raw concrete or whatever. Yeah, so like that is what is available. I mean, we're like looking and we want it to be the best possible space, but construction is definitely, unfortunately, going to be a portion of that that is probably more than what we're estimating, but we're going to be optimistic and hope that it doesn't go more than that. And then there are other sort of like tool things, like we have what we call baby slice, which is our 9-inch backyard barbecue slicer, which is the perfect size for the commercial kitchen, but we can't
I love
slice.
Baby Slice. I've used Baby Slice myself.
Yeah.
Baby slice is great, but you can't slice a leg of prosciutto.
No,
No.
or a large mortadella. We got a big
Oh yeah.
mortadella this Christmas season, and we had to cut it into quarters to get it to fit on the slicer. We need a little bit bigger slicer so we can actually do proper justice to the charcuterie that we're bringing in.
Yeah.
But those are kind of like the big things. Just between refrigeration and construction, you're already at like $60,000, and then all the other sort of equipment things is the final 30,000. That's what we're fundraising for. I've had people tell us that we need a lot more money than that. I've had people tell us that we could do it on less, but
And we probably will. We're gonna have surprises. And they're gonna be They're gonna be things like licenses and things like that we didn't know we needed at the time or whatever. It's so hard to do construction in Seattle. So when we're starting with something that's basically from the ground up, like there's nothing in there, we're gonna have to go in and get certain licenses or talk to contractors and
and the
see
health
what's
department.
allowed and what's not. What was that?
And the health department too. Like you have to go through a whole site review with them every step of the way, and every hour that they spend on your site plan is a billed hour. So
Yeah.
they don't even give you an estimate of how much it's going to cost. They're just like, please contact your health department representative for more information about pricing.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a lot. But it also is leading to what are you envisioning for the space? Like probably a classroom
Hmm.
and, let's talk about what is this going to look like when it's actually built out? What are you hoping for anyway?
Um, we want a really inviting space. We do want Cheese to be kind of the star um, of the show in the shop, but we also have so many great people that we like partner with that we want to sell their products as well, like accompaniments and things like that that you can't really find at other grocery stores. And so we need space for that stuff. And then yes, a classroom. We'd love to have a classroom to have events and classes, and that way we can be doing these things like during open operating hours. And then that's where we can have our big opening party at. Like to have
Well,
a
and
bar, a little bit of a bar. Go ahead, Courtney.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say, like, not just like a 5 or 10 person class, but have the ability to do larger classes, which I've been listening and talking to some other cheese shop owners, and the biggest problem that everybody has is that they don't have space to do classes in the meaningful ways that they want to. So sometimes they have to rent space, which is very expensive, or you're always reliant on another business to come in, which, like, we love working with all of our partners in like the brewery, winery, distillery, meadery, cidery world, but also we'd love to work with, non-alcoholic pairings and things as well. And so, like, to be able to do more classes like that, we need a little bit more space. And if we have a space that's large enough, we would also love to host some pop-ups in our space to sort of give back to the business community in the way that people supported us. So having a spot where somebody could set up a table and come in for the day and be like, here's this thing that's really delicious, and also you should try it with some cheese.
And this is a selfish thing for me, but I also see it as a good opportunity for community building within the like local cheesemonger community where
Oh yeah.
we see like, Bedford Cheese Shop doing these Monger Mondays and whatnot. And we've had issues where we've tried to do events and have people come and talk about their cheese with people, but it's always hard to find a space that wants us first off, or that is just like not already totally filled or isn't really expensive. So being able to add that community piece in not only with the local community of like beverages and whatnot, but just even within our cheesemonger community too.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely also baked into our business plan. Just we want to be able to offer classes for cheesemongers, events for cheesemongers. Um, like we used to have Table Talk in Seattle, which was like our little cheese social group, and we'd like to sort of like bring that to the shop in a sort of like Monger Monday sort of way. We also like have a like Street Cheese has a DBA that is the Cheese School of Seattle. So, part of the Cheese School of Seattle is, making cheese education accessible to everybody. And that's people who work in the industry and people who are outside the industry who just like cheese. So more cheese for everyone
More cheese for everyone, more cheese education
and
for
more cheese
everyone
Yeah.
also.
cheese in all the ways.
I've been asked this question about this like recently too. Are there any other fundraising options outside of Indiegogo that you guys have interacted with? Like I know that you guys have done some stuff with like Business Impact Northwest, and is there anything else that you guys are kind of looking towards, or why did you choose, I guess, Indiegogo as your route?
Well, the big thing is I think the first place everybody looks is loans. Um, and there aren't actually a lot of loans that we qualify for it as a very small business, even though we've been in the game for 4 years now. We're still looking at that possibility, but we also don't want to take on like a huge amount of debt until like, if we don't need to, I guess. The other option that I think everybody comes to mind with is like investors, which we're a little bit gun shy about that because, coming to this from our background and working for, sort of bigger companies that have a lot of like corporate structures, we really want to have the space to enact our vision for how cheese should be showcased and spotlighted and handled properly. And so we don't want to give up too much of our ownership or our vision in that. So we're being very, very careful in any conversations that are centered around the possibility of someone else coming and investing in our business at this stage. But there's not really a whole lot out there. Like as far as grants in Washington go, it's really only for like science and tech, or for farmers, or if you wanted to like create a distribution hub, which like isn't off the table for the future, but that's not where we're going to start. So
Yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, it's, you guys are doing some big things, and I have, I mean, I donated money. I'm excited to go to the opening cheese party. I want to see this happen selfishly because, I want a good cheese shop. So, I'm really rooting for you guys, and I'm really hoping that we can make this happen because it's going to take all of us, right?
yeah.
That's kind of where we're at. Yeah.
Is there anything that you really want people to know about street cheese and what you guys are doing that we haven't necessarily covered?
No, I mean, I think that we are kind of an ever evolving door of things that we are interested in trying out, things that we've thought about doing in the past. We started this business because we wanted to get good cheese to people in different neighborhoods that wouldn't normally, go after something like good artisanal cheese, and like trying to make people understand why it's important to support artisanal cheese, and especially like our local cheesemakers. So, because we are a mobile cheese shop and we started out mobile, we still want to have that aspect of our business continue to happen even after our brick and mortar. We just want to have a space to also do so many other things, like invite other small businesses in, just like the businesses that have kind of helped us grow. We want to be able to give that back to them. And having our own space would do that. But we'll still continue to be mobile. We'll still go out and see people in different neighborhoods. And we will like listen to what our customers want, because we want to keep them around. We like them. And yeah. Anything you want to add, Courtney?
Yeah, I think, the big thing, a lot of people are like, why would you want to bring on the sort of overhead of a brick and mortar space after having been mobile for so long? Isn't it nice to just be mobile? And I think the number one question that we get is, where are you located and when can I come? So trying to be more accessible to more people. Like, we're sensitive that you have to bring the cheese to the people, but you also need to be where the cheese can find you on their own terms. So it's really important to us to just like make cheese more accessible. Cheese, good food, make sure that people understand that cheese doesn't have to be fancy. We're not going to raise prices just because we have to raise prices, which, some larger retailers do as a practice of doing business, not to throw shade at anyone, but that's just how it works in some places. So we have a built-in margin where we actually charge less for local cheeses, to make sure that they're more accessible, and people aren't going to say, I'm not going to buy that one because it's more expensive. I'm going to buy this cheaper one that's from someone else. So we balance our mix to really support them and build that into our business plan. We're really big on like looking at how people market things and saying, let's put our money where our mouth is. And if we're going to say that we're going to sell local stuff, we're going to say we're actually going to sell local stuff. We're a mission-driven business in that regard.
Yeah, I think people would be pretty surprised to like, or I've heard people when they've come and visited, at how surprised they are that how few local cheeses they find at a lot of the grocery counters around here. And even some of the other cheese counters, it can be really hard to sell the local stuff, or they just don't want to, basically. So I think that is like a really important piece of the puzzle that is definitely lacking in this area, and it's becoming a smaller, like we just see it less and less. Like when I go into the stores now, I see local cheeses less and less, and that is not a good thing for the future for sure.
No.
Yeah. As somebody who still works in a grocery store as a cheesemonger, the local items are the first to either get the prices raised or to disappear off the shelf if it's not performing well enough. And I can only do so much to push that product, even though I try so hard to tell the story of that cheese and always direct them to a local one. But at the end of the day, not everyone wants to spend so much money on a cheese. And so I think it's really nice that we are able to keep our prices a little bit lower on the local stuff. Like I think it's something that we should be really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunity to work with those cheesemakers too, to do, more classes and stuff with them too, to promote those cheeses that you're carrying in store would be pretty awesome also.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to keep this short because poor little Taylor's head needs to relax, but I do have a couple of questions for Taylor, and like I just want to preface this that since I have had Courtney on the podcast before, so if you guys aren't familiar with her, please go back and find that episode and you'll get to know Courtney, because
everyone knows Courtney.
There's a wealth of information there, and there's a lot. I just wanted to have Taylor involved also. But I do have a couple of quick questions for you, Taylor. And I mean,
Okay.
Courtney, you can also chime in too, because this is probably different from the last time that I asked you these questions.
Everything about me.
Well, there's a lot that's happened since the last time that we had this conversation. So, but these are kind of my quick round questions. So, the first one, what's your current cheese crush?
Well, I haven't eaten cheese. I haven't eaten cheese in like a month. It's really sad to say.
And I'm just gonna say, so people who don't know, Taylor has a concussion right now, so poor baby's been like laid up for a while. So that's
yeah.
don't think anything about it.
I love cheese. I love cheese. I just haven't been eating much because I've been locked in a room with a concussion. I love this time of year because I just love I love fresh chev. Like I know it's basic, but I love this time of year because it's the freshest for chev. So I think that I'm really excited to eat some of that when I get out of concussion prison. I think the cheese that I got really excited about most recently was probably the Wonderland from Mountain Lodge Creamery. It's a raw goat's milk, like tome style. It just we went and visited them and we got to see their animals and their barn. It was like it was probably one of the nicer like creameries we've been in. It was like so beautiful, and the cheesemaker or the owner is very passionate and loves her animals, so it just like makes me want to eat all their cheese and support them. But their Wonderland is so nice. It's like kind of citrusy and kind of earthy, and that's probably my latest cheese crush.
Courtney, do you want to chime in with one?
Yeah, I'm going through my brain Rolodex, and I think I've been trying to taste cheese every day this year. And so I've been tasting a lot of cheese, and I feel like my cheese crush changes every day with whatever I'm eating. So today I had a very young wheel of maple washed Willoughby from Jasper Hill Farm, which they're washing with the maple liqueur. And I'm not getting a lot of like the maple wash in it, but it's just Willoughby is such a good cheese. Like it's like ham with a cream sauce, and so good.
What's your favorite pairing? Just across the board, your go-to.
Probably something with a pickle in it, to be honest. Cheese and pickle. Any type of pickle, I'll take it. I can't even give you specifics right now.
Just pickle.
Cheese and pickle.
Great.
Tried and true.
I mean, my favorite pickle and cheese memory of Taylor is like a cream cheese spread with sauerkraut on it on toast. So
I mean, I eat that every day.
yeah,
There you go. There's your favorite pairing.
Yeah.
that's it.
Perfect.
That's the Taylor.
The Taylor special
Yeah.
on
Mine
the
is
menu.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If we ever
Coming
do
to it.
a bread thing in our shop, that'll be the bread thing.
Yeah.
My favorite pairing of all time across the board is a weird one, I guess. It's the specific cheese is Lost Peacock Creamery here in Washington. They're Thai chili and garlic chev, but you could do any garlic chev with a chocolate caramel. That is the chocolate and the garlic and the dog sneezing in the background. But the chocolate and the garlic too. It wins with the goat cheese.
Interesting. I'll have to try that the next time I come hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
And then the last one, your best cheese memory. Doesn't have to be like a specific cheese. It could be just a time
Oh
you
my
were,
God.
yeah.
Well, I mean, how could I not mention like Switzerland? Because it was, I think the entire trip that we took together was obviously so good. Um, but probably climbing up the mountain. Probably climbing up the mountain and being real pissed about it and not knowing where we're going. And then literally yelling at our host. And then getting up to the top of the mountain and getting to wear like pink Crocs and getting a glass of wine and then sitting around and eating fondue with everybody. It was probably like it's definitely up there. One of my favorites.
And don't forget the sound of like cowbells tinkling
Oh yeah.
in the darkness on the top of
Yes.
this Alp.
After tromping up the mountain through cow pies to get
With our
there
suitcases.
with our suitcase.
So mad about it.
Yeah, I think that's a shared experience for all three of us of just like one of the most amazing times where, you know, I will preface this that people won't completely understand that we had just been traveling all day, missed a train, and had to like get another train. And then when we got to Geneva, we had to go pick up our van, and it was just a lot of travel. We were all dehydrated, we were all hungry, and we were just kind of told that all we needed for this chalet we were going to was a pair of underwear and our toothbrush. We didn't really know what that meant or where we were going. And then we literally had to climb a mountain to get to the place while we were dehydrated and hungry and tired from traveling. But it was so worth it because waking up with that like fog in the morning and that those cowbells tinkling and just the gracious hosts that we did have that were so wonderful and so giving and so nice, even though we all came in hot.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had to apologize to no Oh
I
yeah.
think that everybody said things that they regretted on
Oh
that
yeah,
hike.
and I've apologized to Gregory numerous times. Every time I see him, I'm like, "Hey, bud, sorry about that. We love you, actually."
Yeah.
Courtney, I'm just gonna assume that that's also like we're
Yeah,
just gonna have that as our shared best cheese memory.
I think it's appropriate. We were all there for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Same cow poop.
I mean, hiking mountains in Crocs and cow poop, you know? What else? What else are you gonna do? So where can people find you guys? And where's the Indiegogo campaign? Where are we gonna find this money? We gotta find this money. Who's got money?
Yeah, we need to find this money. So we post on Instagram daily and our Facebook at Street Cheese SEA. The link to our Indiegogo is pretty simple. It's just right in our bio link. You click it, a little thing pops up. Indiegogo is right there. You can click it and go and donate, or you can choose a perk if you want a perk. We've got some really nice perks for, you know, if you donate a certain amount of money. Courtney, do you have anything else you want to say?
If you go to our website too, streetcheeseseattle.com, there's also a big box on the website with announcement about our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. And a quick note to anyone who is donating on mobile browser, because we've had some comments about this, you have to go to the bar where the perks are and scroll all the way to the right if you just want to give $10. They don't make it easy to find the minimum donation or like choose your own donation journey button.
All right. Well, I'll put also all of that stuff in the show notes so everybody can find it really easily too. And I just want to put it out there that like any amount of money will definitely help get this cheese shop off the ground, because we need something like this in Seattle so desperately. And I've been dreaming of this place. I don't want to be the one to do it. So I appreciate you guys taking it on.
You can come benefit from it.
Yes.
Exactly. I will
is
definitely
welcome.
benefit from this. So I want to see this happen. I feel like there's just so many opportunities that we're going to get from this space. And being able to watch you guys do this is going to be really gratifying for me too, to watch two of my favorite people be able to do something so amazing that I love. So thank you guys for joining me, and let's get you guys to the finish line.
Yay.
Thanks so much, Janae. We really appreciate it. And
Yeah, thank you for having us.
I said as much in this podcast, but I have a vested interest in this shop opening, not only to see my good friend succeed, but to also have a space for the cheese community here in Seattle. If you can, please help these ladies with their goal by donating money or sharing their campaign far and wide. This podcast is recorded, produced, and edited by me, Janae Muha. Musical credits to my husband, Ben Muha. If you want to continue the conversation, find me on Instagram or Facebook. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite listening platform so more people can find this podcast. Thanks for listening, and remember to keep spreading the word of good curd.